this meeting of the Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors Memorials to order. This is the Thursday, September 18th meeting. We're all in person, and there is currently no one on Zoom, so we will just dive right in. Sean is not here this evening, so we don't have any minutes submitted, nor can we approve them.
There was an email that came out about missing minutes. Did you see that?
Which he followed up on today, and Sean has to go through his emails and find copies and forward them because I don't have them. So
Yeah.
well, we're pursuing that. The Jim Gallagher plaque, we were going to talk about a potential date for that, but again, Sean's not here, so we'll skip right by that. Memorial planning process was discussion, and I had some notes because I couldn't remember. We were talking about the names of the conflicts for future. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wrote down that we had talked about Desert Storm, the post 9/11 era / Iraq, and then global war on terror.
It'll be Desert Storm and Global War on Terror.
Okay. So did we want to vote on that to lock it in, or are we just cool with it and we'll just move on?
Good if we want to vote to lock it in.
I mean, I don't think we have to vote.
Yeah, no,
If we're all in, there's only the three of us, but I mean, if we're in agreement, we can just notify the other members that we're going to go with that, and then whenever that comes, we'll just refer back to our decision.
yeah.
Okay. That works. We're going to go for the record at the shortest meeting.
I do need to reach back out because I sent an email to Carmen and Michael after our last meeting. I never heard anything back. So I just need to touch base with them again to see if I can get their list. And the same list.
On that topic.
Yeah, to just start getting the list of names. And the same with Jeff. Just need to circle back with them.
Okay. Next item on the agenda was creating a map of memorials. Are we physically looking? I mean, no, we had talked about the application that the town uses.
Oh, yeah, there's like an app or a website.
Land planning app. I'm not even sure what it's called. Do you know what it's called?
GIS?
Okay, that might be it. Yeah. So I guess my question is, do we have to have a sit down with someone in planning, or do we have to go before planning board, or do we have to, how do we get that ball rolling?
Well, I do. I mean, I agree with Lucas. I thought when Andy took over, there was a discussion about Andy.
That was going to go with his wheelhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, because isn't he doing something similar to that with this job?
Yeah.
So,
Because really what it is, what I was trying to capture with this is we have all these memorials and cemeteries, but I can't tell you where they all are.
right.
And I don't know if anybody can.
Yeah, he can.
Right, exactly. And that's the dilemma that we keep running into. So by getting this information out into the town public domain sites, it's there for everyone, and we just have somebody at the state to. And then Andy took that job, which we were like, oh, this is
Okay. So if I follow up with Jeff and he confirms that that's in Andy's wheelhouse, then
Yeah.
we'll take this off the agenda. Okay. Let's check out my notes. We talked about that. Okay, Old Cemetery, I'm sorry, Hillcrest Cemetery. Can we put that to bed? We have an answer for that?
That's the one that's over.
That was the one that Grafton fell into the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it, like long term, is the only question that I have.
We can come back and check it out on a semi-annual basis or an annual basis or.
Yep.
All right, let me see.
At least before Memorial Day, just to make sure somebody cleans it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the one that, like, Shrewsbury kept saying it was ours. We kept saying it was theirs. These were like, won't we ask the state? Because the state's the one that,
Yeah, and then the state did provide money, and they brought in a contractor.
and cleaned it all.
Yeah, well,
It's funny, I saw Daryl like 3 times this weekend. It'll be 6 more months before I see you. Old cemetery signage.
Yeah, this was to go with the flagpole over there. Maybe not the light, right, but at the entrance, just to explain
This will.
the one that way.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah.
So the questions I asked myself were, what needs to be done and who needs to be involved?
I think this is something that we can do internally. The question is, what do we want on it? I would suggest at a minimum, we would want to recognize the American veterans and the NIPMA veterans, because we do have those flags there. The question, do you want to put their names on it, or do you just do like a historical sign, like, hey, here's, these people range from these states, they were in these wars, and I think you can go either way. So I think it'd just be some general language on what do we want to put in there.
I personally am struggling with the concept of what we want to do. So I'm thinking if we had like a mock-up, even if you drew a sketch of what it was we thought we would want to do, and we're talking a wooden carved sign or a paint sign.
Do like a bronze flag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a plaque recognizing that there are military veterans buried there.
Okay. And then,
just what's cemented in the ground.
all right. And then the other question I had was if we proceed with that, because it's the old cemetery, is there anybody in town that we need to include in the process?
I mean, if we're going to be
It might be just
plaqued, it's probably the same thing like we do with revealing a plaque, like, select board, maybe see if the Meridian and them would like to come to that.
well, what I need is
Logistically,
the simple quick answer might be just talk to Daryl. But I didn't know if any of the historic committees in town need to be involved. I mean, putting up a flag is completely different than mounting a plaque. Is what
I think the Historical Society might want to be involved. My daughter is volunteering there now on Thursday.
Some of them was on that committee, so good.
Yeah. So I think we could reach out and just see. They've got a lot of interesting things. They're trying to get involved more. That's what it sounds like.
yeah, you guys. So I mean,
if they say it's good, we don't need to be involved. Then we can just proceed. But
yeah, we don't. So I mean, we're outside the historic district, so we don't need their approval. But if the historical commission wants to be involved, that's up to you. If you want to invite them to be a part of this, it would probably be nice. And then I would just run it past them. But beyond that, he may not need a say, but just the courtesy of the heads up, so he's in the loop.
Okay, you need to make sure that Carmen and Michael get the invites this year, because we don't know what happened last year with the flagpoles.
okay.
I'm thinking for the plaque verbiage itself, then maybe asking the Historical Society to draft something up for us. They've got I'm sure they've got the history on who's buried there, and let them get involved and put that in, and we just kind of act as the funding vehicle for all of this.
So how do we get that on their agenda?
Well, just put your feelers out and start asking questions, and then
Okay. Oh, that's normal. Then
they might put it on their agenda without being asked. And
yeah.
I mean, if we need to go and attend one of their meetings, I mean, we can go do that. But
I think if my daughter brings it in as a volunteer, because and then if your mother-in-law brings it up at the committee, then I think we're good that way. And we've got two different levels. I mean, I'd kind of push my daughter to run this down just because she wants to do archaeology and stuff. So it's like right up that book.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something they're interested in, then they can reach out and we can coordinate. Like you said, somebody goes to their meeting, or one of them comes to one of these meetings and flesh out the details. Then they'll.
okay. So if you ask the right questions of the right people, then figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have this on the agenda, but I figure we're in the same general district if I ask the question. At one time in our history, we learned that the Sampson Square and the Veteran Bridge had a dedication. We heard that from Carmen and Mike.
The prior to us?
Or during us, somewhere along the line. We had been thinking about Sampson Square dedication
Yeah.
and the Veterans Bridge.
Well,
But
rededication.
then we found out, at least I think we found out from one of the two organizations, oh, well, that already happened. So
Oh, they must have did their own or something.
that's where I'm driving it. Do I take it off the agenda, or do we find a way to do our own dedication? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking because I feel like I lost track of where.
I mean, if it really does, I mean, we could redo them if we choose to, but
That'd be kind of
redundant.
Well, I don't want to offend anybody, number one.
So, yeah,
that's my thought is,
because they could be like, what, ours was good.
right. They didn't come out to that flag,
Yeah.
did this, and then we go out and do another one.
I mean, we can get confirmation from them that, yes, they did do ones recently. While this community, then we could probably just say, like,
I think they did it within. But I think they did it, what, 2 years ago? A year ago?
The Sampson Square would have to be a year ago. I want to think they did a Sampson Square dedication around Memorial Day.
Okay.
I thought the Veterans Bridge was never done.
See, I heard that it was. All right, so
I'll send out an email. And I'll ask for the names and ask for this. We'll just see everybody then.
yeah. I'm just looking to clean up future agendas because it seemed like we had a lot of stuff and it was the same stuff.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't Sampson rededicated once the intersection there was done?
That's what I don't know, because we were talking about doing a rededication, and then I think it was the BFW said
They
they
could've-
did it.
They had done. I don't know about the bridge, but I could have sworn they had done one there.
And so we just never knew that it happened. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the thing.
that was back when our signals were just not connecting. So, okay.
I could be wrong too. Daft.
Yeah. And we probably need to make sure that they're getting these invites still now that we swapped over for the meetings. So.
All right, historic markers. We had talked at one time. But it's the example that I put forward was the B-17 that had to make an emergency landing at Airport Road on its way back from Europe. So I know it sounds amazing, but the Historical Society says it happened. So again, that's kind of a similar question to if we pursue that idea or any other similar marker, who do we have to make sure we invite and or include in the discussion so as to not hurt anybody's feelings? I mean, is that a historic commission?
But I think whatever we determine for the old cemetery signage, we probably use that same thing on the historic markers.
Yeah.
But so taking a step back, because one of the things that always concerned me whenever we first took over this committee was every flagpole we put up is one more thing the town has to maintain. Yeah, every marker we put up is one more thing that has to be clean and updated. So at some point, is it just too much? So is there another way to highlight these kind of things? Maybe we go back to the map of memorials, veterans, and cemeteries. We may want to explore some of that stuff a little bit more.
So let me throw a different idea at you. You don't want to put up markers or plaques. So what if we identified a location in town that a historic event took place, and we set up an event where we invite the public to come and listen to the story of that event that took place? We haven't actually mounted anything. We haven't actually erected anything, but we can say right here where you're standing, yeah, this took place. And I mean, otherwise, I think we just take it off the agenda and go back to the format that this committee was originally, at least the way I remember before we took over, was they met quarterly and had really tiny agendas. I mean, so, and I guess part of my question is that we came out of the gate really fast and hot, and we added all kinds of things onto the agenda, but we may or may not necessarily have the power to make any of them happen without bringing in outside parties. So,
I wonder if, like, you could kind of marry those ideas and go maybe a little bit simpler with it, and use your favorite current idea with QR codes. Because Kevin has the ability at the DPW to make signage, and if you can do, even just like smaller rectangles, a metal signage with some sort of QR. That's, it's cheap there. It's figuring out, I guess, where you'd host the information from there. But if you had, if we had pages, like web pages about these historical occurrences, instead of putting, something up there, you can find a place to mount that really easily somewhere, in the entrance area. And then, it's an engaging thing that the person gets, I'm thinking like those, like the audio tours or, whatever we go through and something like that. But again, that relies on having that information electronically accessible.
Right. Well, and I was kind of curious to learn more about what the Historical Society has, because my daughter came home talking about this a couple of weeks ago. And we got it all from the Historical Society. So if they already have websites, one of the things that I've been playing around with, another one of my great ideas for the parades that I can never implement, which might be kind of cool to do this, similar to what you were suggesting, but I've always liked the idea of like a scavenger hunt. Mm-hmm. You can get the kids involved. If the Historical Society already has web pages dedicated to this, then that's your QR code. You set up around town. You tell the town we're going to do a scavenger hunt. You ask companies to host the questions. They go out, they click the QR code, they read the information, they answer the questions from that web page. And then at the end, we, buy $10 gift certificates to Swirls and Scoops. And if you filled out the questions correctly, you drop them off here, we verify it, we give you a $10 gift certificate or something like that, But it's just something that doesn't take a lot of effort, and it gets the town involved.
I'm wondering with that, my question with that then becomes ownership of the information, because if you put up the QR code and you're driving to the historical website, the Historical Society's website, if anything changes with them or they, redo their website and whatnot, then, there's just a lot of things that could go potentially sideways with that.
Right.
But even if they have the information gathered, I would think that we could build up pages on the town website under the Soldiers and Sailors Memorials tab, where we put together those links. Even if, say, they had the page built out and all the, they have some photos and they have all the text written to go with it, as long as we ask them for permission to take that, we could copy all that stuff and put it onto an actual town page. And then we're secure in where we're driving people to, because it's, it's an official town page at that point. But same. But, you could kick it off with, like a scavenger hunt or whatever, or it could be an ongoing thing that as people go around, they, get their little check marks wherever they go. And
So there is a page for the Veterans Advisory Committee on the town website, and there is a page for Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors. There is only a Facebook page for Veterans Advisory. So you're thinking specifically just the town webpage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
we could build up from because it lists the names of the members of the committee.
Yep.
And the charge of the committee and not a lot else. I mean, so it probably wouldn't be a big deal to build it out.
Right, like Senior Center just put all their dementia-friendly information on there. It's got a whole little subsection on the Council on Aging page.
And then we don't need to really worry about getting permission, which is putting out the QR codes and, So, okay. Yeah, I think I like that a lot better.
Because then you can hide it, right? If it's a parse, put it on a tree somewhere.
Yeah. Or you get the wooden stakes and just stake it.
Yeah.
Something simple enough. Like something easy. Yeah, just walk over like. Yeah, pull it out.
Yeah.
You need to go worry about teenagers going to let them up to type. But
Well, stickers another big deal, I think, to replace, no matter how many times you have to do it.
Yeah, in theory. Because again, like, to me, once you start talking signage in general, or markers, I think about like the land trusts, or they start to have rules about you have to have a granite marker there, and which I get, because you want to start thinking about that now, and longevity, and making sure that all your stuff looks consistent. But it's just one more thing.
Yeah, and like what you were saying is like now you're adding not only the initial purchase of the item, but there's going to be costs for
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
And they may be like, we already don't have one. You're adding 3 additional markers that we have to know.
Yeah.
Well, it's sterile that takes care of it all because of what happened however long ago.
Right.
And I always thought like some of the reason why this grew was there was a lot of people suggesting we should do all these memorials for all these veteran cemeteries. It's like, that's good, but nobody goes.
Yeah.
And I would prefer rather one memorial in town common where everybody goes and they can see it, and you can point to if you want to go and visit. Here's the cemetery, and then you have a web page where I can go see the cemetery versus Hillcrest Cemetery. It's all overgrown. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thought on those memorials. I think we get a little too much. Like we had 3 of the World War I eggs. Why 3? Not just one.
So are you thinking about those things that you see at the national park? It sits on a pedestal and kind of looks like a big console.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking about like your thing, the plane you were talking about. Instead of like a granite marker that's made with bronze or whatever, like just a wooden thing that's got a pictorial. Yeah, pictorial. It explains it. It's covered in like plexiglass, so it keeps it from the rain. But it's not like super much to really maintain it. You just got to cut around it for.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that. And there may be ones that the town thinks are really cool. If you do the web page, right, and you have different links to all of these, and they take you to different pages, now you can monitor the analytics, how many people are going to these web pages.
Yeah.
And if everybody goes to the World War II plane that landed on Airport Street.
You get like 6,000 views on
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So maybe we can put something there, right? Yeah.
Then you get 10 that's like.
Yeah. But I mean, we're going to find some of these things it's going to be cool, but at the same time, we're going to.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard too, because some of the stuff that may be cool, we think it's cool because we're military.
Right.
We're like, that's awesome. Other people might be like, I don't really care about that. Like, it's true.
Yeah. That's why, you just cast a wide net, put a bunch of them, somebody find something cool.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet the historical would be excited because, you're drawing attention to these things. You're drawing attention to history, and
right.
I feel like they're just dying to have people to tell these stories to. So
yeah, the veteran stuff I think is the easy thing because everybody gets into it, but you can then expand it. I still would love to do this, and the QR codes kind of makes it easier if we start using stuff that's already there. But I'd still love to do this for 4th of July parade.
So if we pursue the path of QR codes for all of these ideas, which I'm really liking a lot, could we do your scavenger hunt as part of the Veterans Advisory Committee?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think it probably fits better under that umbrella.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we...
Yeah, I mean, setting it up is more ours, but the scavenger hunt can be part of the...
Right. But if we go the QR code route for Airport Road or any other historic sites that we discovered in town, and people would start to realize that, well, something's happening in this realm. But I like the idea of the scavenger hunt because then we can tie the two things together. But
well, it's easy to see how much interest you get with this. And if the Historical Society, I understand what you're saying about moving everything over, but if they already have web pages over now, you do it 1 year and you see if you get people interested. And if it's something that's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, you get a lot of people. Okay, now we start pulling it over. You maybe do 5 or 6 items out of 30. You can rotate, and every year it can become an annual thing.
yeah, then if we present it to, say, Select Board, we're not putting up a plaque. We're putting a sticker with a QR code on it. Although I could frankly see somebody getting upset about putting stickers on stuff. But that the cost of QR code stickers is going to be next to nothing compared to a plaque or a pictogram.
And if we can integrate it into something that's already there,
And directs to some, yep, exactly.
not force Daryl to have one more thing that he's got to weed whack around or, whatever. And
I'm fine. I like to see Daryl challenged. So,
He always accepts it. I see the look in his eye like I'm going to stab you, but he's always like,
Yeah. That's Bob. We'll get it done.
right? I know.
he knows he's stuck coming to these meetings.
I know.
Probably stop like, yeah, I'll do that, and then realize, like, oh my gosh, this covers so much.
All right. So we'll move for the discussion of scavenger hunt things to the VAC. And, okay. Well, then we did blaze through all of this. Jump in.
Did have one thing just for the items not.
Yeah, listen, sure.
So they kind of talked about it in my IT committee, and then it made me start thinking. So note taking, like the meeting minutes. Can we use, since what we talked about is mostly public knowledge, can't we use like AI to generate our meeting minutes and summary versus like having it? And then we wouldn't fall behind because literally they're like the minute you get done, they're pretty much done. So we just approve them the next meeting and then submit them.
I asked the town clerk about that because there was a committee that was producing their minutes exclusively by AI. So I asked the clerk about, are we allowed to do that? And she wasn't certain, but I did some research and I found on the Commonwealth's website, the recommendation was you can use AI to produce your draft. Yeah. But then you still have to review them in person.
Well, yeah, I mean-
and accept them. But you can't just say, quick, print out my minutes and then submit them. They have to be run through the process. So
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, by the time we got done, they're already done. Take the next few weeks, review them, update them, and then the next meeting, they're already done.
Right. No, I think that's smart.
yeah, it's more committees are talking about trying to, test that out. I think the town's trying to draft like an AI usage policy for that stuff.
Yeah, we are.
Everybody,
They brought it up, and I was just like,
but yeah,
like, you know what?
So what we're saying is we need to hurry up and get our stuff nailed down and then tell you, and then you go and drive the IT committee to.
Yeah, I'll be like, this is how the veterans do it.
They're going to rewatch this playback and be like, those guys now.
the Cable Advisory was just talking about it at one of the last meetings too. That get involved in that, and I know even online, some people are trying to use them in more like a newsletter fashion.
Yeah.
But use AI to capture essentially meeting minutes so that they don't have to watch all the meetings in the week to gather all the data.
And I've done meeting minutes, and it's hard. If you're not part of the meeting, it's easy to take minutes. But the minute you're part of the meeting, trying to take minutes and be in the discussion, it's like incredibly hard because you're trying to write everything down as everyone's speaking. But then when you want to talk, you can't write and speak.
I always do them after the fact, which is again,
I wouldn't be able to remember.
a great resource. I go on the YouTube. You can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you watch the
Stuff and yeah,
but the secret to good minutes is you don't have to write a book.
yeah, that too. Figuring out what the pertinent information is, and
that lady I had me writing like 3 pages of notes for an hour meeting.
I do have an item. Gold Star family. They have an update on that.
Yeah. We, families have been reached out to and invited. Flags are in the bin over there under the monitor. Messages have been sent to the post commanders. Sean was following up with a phone call or an email to make doubly sure they knew. The information of the date, the time, blah, 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 that was all sent. The request was made for an honor guard. Sean was trying to lock down a bugler or buglers. We're not sure how many we're going to get, if any. People have been responding to me on my personal phone saying, yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll be there. So it it started out really, really slow, but all of a sudden they just started coming together. So, and then going through the pages of the spreadsheet that Andy had created, and I actually got to the point where I just started cutting them up and taping them together because I had them on the dining room table, and I was just trying to go from column, one all the way across to try and figure it out. And then I got really confused when I saw Andy's name, and I thought, no. Then I realized, oh, this is volunteer. Okay, yeah, all right. So, yeah, I think it's going to happen. And then Tuesday night, we're going to select board.
Next Tuesday?
Yep.
So is everybody going to gather up at Municipal Center, then go distribute?
So the way I understand it works, because it's been explained to me like 14 times, we gather at the flagpole closest to Brigham Hill Road. I'll make an introduction. He'll conduct the ceremony. We lower the flag. We raise the Gold Star flag. There's a document that Lucas can read from thanking the VIPs who are in attendance, select board members, senator, the representative, and I think Andy said the ceremony doesn't take much more than half an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
And I've been asking a lot of questions because I wasn't there last year I don't remember why. Sean wasn't there last year, so I don't.
I wasn't there.
So I had a lot of holes at first, but I kept asking questions, and so it's coming together. Once the ceremony concludes, then we look at the big chart and try to connect the people in attendance with the name of the veteran or the mother of the veteran. And then in Andy's paperwork, there are actually photographs of the headstones.
Yeah.
One of the times I ran into Daryl, I asked him about how do we get from point A to point B at said cemetery, and he said that, he's always available to help. So I hope that means on the day of too. But in the paperwork that Andy left me, there were also hand-drawn maps of the cemeteries.
Yeah.
So one way or the other, we'll get it done. If the family members take the flag, that's easy peasy because they know where they're going. The leftovers that are, the quote-unquote volunteers are going to take them and go put them in. So
I don't remember if we did all of them last year or if he just had some that were left. But in Andy fashion, you had two sheets of paper. One had a picture of the headstone. One had the map, and there was an indicator where that plot was. But it was so easy to find at that point. So you just took your flags and went out and placed them.
I thought he had y'all place the ones before the ceremony, like today.
Well, that was I couldn't remember if he placed some the day before or not. We definitely got some. I remember getting two the morning of. But
there was a notation in the paperwork that said flags were placed the day before.
Yeah.
But I think last year's ceremony took place. I don't remember if last year's ceremony took place on a Saturday or a Sunday.
The Gold Star Mother?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah, because I was supposed to be there, and
So
all of a sudden I was like,
you got called to duty, did you?
something happened, and I was like, oh,
Yeah. All right. We can continue this if you want, but I'm just going to.
No, that was all I had. I just wanted to check in because I'm only seeing like parts of it.
the select board's at 7, right?
You sorry?
Select board's at 7.
Yeah, we have you guys first on the agenda, so we'll get it out.
I'll make sure to dress nice. Vote tie.
November or December for the next meeting. We don't have a lot of homework assignments here, but I mean,
Probably November. Because I feel like December is hard because that's when you start getting into from Thanksgiving to Christmas, the holiday. So,
Or do you just push it to January and we get back on the quarterly?
I can do that.
that works.
I mean, there's nothing clear.
Do we do our quarters by calendar or fiscal?
Callan.
Okay.
Love it. January 2026. They'll be a year older. At this point, all I need is a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn.
My second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
This is